When the games are live, so are we. Welcome to In Game Live right here on the grid, covering Sunday night football between the Bengals and the Chargers. I'm your host, the spitting statistician, Dane Martinez, and with me tonight is my guy, George Kurtz. George, this was a big week in the NFL. Going into week 11, we had huge matchups. It started on Thursday night football with the Commanders and the Eagles. That one did not disappoint. We had Ravens and Steelers. That did not disappoint. We just got the finish of Bills and Chiefs for a top spot in the AFC. That one did not disappoint. And honestly, Kurtz, I think this is a sneaky good game in the AFC. When you talk about wild card positioning, I got a lot to look forward to. What do you think? What's going on, George?
I might give you some pushback on that Pittsburgh-Baltimore game being a little disappointing, especially if you were an over-better or a fantasy player, right? That game, 6 field goals. You had Boswell, fantastic, but who was playing that, right? So that could be a little frustrating there. Kansas City, Buffalo was a really good game. And I agree with you about this being a sneaky game tonight, but it's sneaky in that, Dane, it's a must-win for the Chargers. They cannot lose this. Listen, you lost 2 tough ones to Baltimore in shootouts here. This one is not. Well, I don't think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be much more of an average NFL game for us. The final score. I don't think it's going to be a slobber knock, and I don't think it's going to be a shootout. So it'll be somewhere in between. But that's my problem tonight, Dane. I don't quite know what the game script is going to be tonight, and I know the Bengals can't play defense. I know that. Are the Chargers going to take the air out of the ball? Dobbins, Edwards night? Let's not make any mistakes here. Or are they going to realize, no, we got to score points tonight. We're going to have to let Justin Herbert, who's played really well this year, are we going to have to let him cut it loose somewhat? So that's my only worry tonight. Let me put it this way. I'm glad I'm not down today because I wouldn't want to have to go into this game in makeup mode. Because like I said, there's just no easy script for me tonight. Who do I pick on? What do I do? Tomorrow night would be easy. Pick against the Cowboys. All right? But tonight, I just don't know which way to go with this game.
All right, fair enough. You say it's a must-win for the Chargers. I'm on the other side talking about the Cincinnati Bengals, thinking it's a must-win for them. When you look at that last spot in the AFC wildcard chase, that kind of rough underbelly, teams at around 500, I think a lot of people think Cincy is the team that will get that spot. They're probably the best team on paper, but look at what the Denver Broncos just did at home against the Atlanta Falcons. The Indianapolis Colts going back to Anthony Richardson, somehow beating the Jets on the road, and then even the Miami Dolphins are sneaky. They got a win against the Vegas Raiders at home. So, Cincy kind of needs this win to kind of keep par with the Denver Broncos in the AFC wildcard hunt. And I'm with you. The big question for me in this one is the Chargers defense, right? The Chargers defense, George, is literally leading the NFL in scoring defense. They're only allowing 13 points a game, yet over on FanDuel, the total for this game is 48.5, right? So they still think somehow that the Cincinnati Bengals are going to be able to score. And let me tell you why. Here are the Chargers' 6 wins. Here are the quarterbacks they beat in those 6 wins. Jameis Winston, Will Levis, Gardner Minshew, Bryce Young, Bo Nix, and Spencer Rattler. Now, Joe Burrow comes in, and I think that's a little bit of a different test for this Los Angeles Chargers defense, and that is also why, George, one of my props that I'm going to give out as we get to some of those before the game, if you want to lock in some stuff before the game, that's why one of my props, despite the Chargers only allowing 13.1 points a game, I'm taking the team total for the Cincinnati Bengals over 23.5. I think it's a little bit of a different test, and I think the Chargers have not seen an offense like this just yet, and now Joe Burrow comes into town. Joe Burrow, who leads the NFL in passing yards. Joe Burrow, who leads the NFL in passing touchdowns with 24. I think it is a different test. I think they will be able to score. The Cincinnati Bengals have averaging 37.5 points a game over their last 2. Remember, they lost last week against the Baltimore Ravens, but that was a big-time 35-34 game. So I actually think Cincy will be able to score on the number 1 scoring defense here in the NFL. George, what do you say? What are some of the props you have? Because I know you're riding Joe Burrow as well.
I'm going to play the old lies, damn lies statistics game here, right? You pointed out who the Chargers have beaten here. Let me show you who the Bengals have beaten here. By the way, it's a lot of the same names, which doesn't really give you comments on either team here. But they beat Carolina, probably with Andy Dalton at quarterback, almost certainly. Daniel Jones and the Giants. Okay. Next win, Cleveland and Deshaun Watson. And then, of course, they beat the Raiders. All right, so they haven't really had an impressive win either. The thing is, they've had some impressive losses, or at least fun losses here. All right.
Right.
Listen, I don't think the Chargers are going to shut down the Bengals. I don't. Am I playing the over? No, I probably lean that way, but then again, I lean over in every game, right? I want overs, all right, but I'm not taking it here. I don't feel good enough to bet on it. But my first bet tonight will be Jamar Chase, longest reception, 24.5 yards. It's just not that much. It can happen on any play. I don't even throw a bomb, throw a slant, and he might get 24.5 yards. Burrow's going to go after him. He's going to get his targets. There's no Patrick Surtain on the Chargers or anybody. It was a lockdown cornerback that I'm worried about here. T. Higgins returning tonight helps that also as far as a legitimate receiver on the other side here. So first prop, Jamar Chase, longest reception, over 24.5 yards.
No, I like that. And let's keep it with the Chase narrative on Cincinnati. You're on Jamar Chase. I'm on the Bengals running back Chase Brown to be over in his receiving yards as well, over 24.5. He's gone over this his last two. I think he caught 9 balls in the Cincinnati Bengals last game against the Baltimore Ravens. He's had 4 or more targets in his last 3 or 4 games. And here's the deal. Zach Moss has gone down with injury, right? They bring in Khalil Herbert over from the Chicago Bears. You saw that last time they were out here. What did Khalil Herbert do? His first snap as a Cincinnati Bengal, George, he fumbles the rock. I think Chase Brown will have this backfield to himself. I think Cincinnati will continue to be a pass-heavy team. I don't think they're going to necessarily try to run the ball. I think they're going to have the ball in Joe Burrow's hands the entire time, and he has been looking for Chase Brown in the dump down game. I think he can get this. Just a couple of screen passes, a couple of wheel routes out of the backfield will work for Chase Brown. So I'm going over 24.5 yards. I already told you about the over on the Cincinnati team total. You have an over on Jamar Chase. It sounds like we all think that Cincinnati will be able to make hay here, even against this league-leading defense of the Chargers. But let me go back to you. What's another guy in this Cincinnati offense that you think can make hay? It sounds like you like one of the tight ends in this one, too. Might we see a little bit of the gritty out here at a Gesicki?
I hope. Well, I don't have him for an anytime touchdown, so I don't care if he does the gritty here. But I think he's a good solid night here. I think you and I are on the same wavelength here. I think you commented that we were talking earlier, that we both are thinking the same way. I think they're going to have to throw the ball to move the ball. All right, so I do think that's going to happen here. So, yes, Mike Gesicki, I have his over yardage, 29.5, just 5 yards more with Chase Brown. Once again, I'm not asking for much here. I think his catches were, I don't want to say it. I might have been wrong. I'll look it up here. But I was thinking 2.5 or 4.5, so I started playing the middle there. Now I'm going to have to look it up here. But I know I thought about playing that too, his reception total here, which is, of course, it's lower than it is now. Mike Gesicki, 2.5. It is 2.5. And I am going to put that in. If I'm going to take his yardage total at 29.5, he probably needs at least 3 catches to do so. And we think there's going to be a heavy pass play for Burrow in this game to move the ball for the Bengals here. So I'm going to take Mike Gesicki, both. All right, the one I sent in was over 29.5 yards, and I'm going to take his receptions, 3 or more.
All right, sounds good. Now, listen, you just said it, right? You like the overs. We think Cincy's going to be able to move the ball. I'm going to tell you something. When we come back on the other side, I'm going to give you one more prop in this game, George. But we're going to go to the Los Angeles side, and I've actually got an under for everybody, okay? I know we always talk about overs, but I'm going to give you an under in this game. But before we get out of here, you do have one more, and I think you got Joe Burrow actually putting it up, but not the yards, not the completions. We're going to talk about the attempts for Joe Burrow, and I'm going to give you an under when we come on the other side right here on In Game Live, Sunday Night Football style on the grid.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
It's a new era in CFP to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on Sports Grid.
Tatum has fixed that hitch. He now shoots it at the top of his jump. His release is really pure. And right now he's shooting it at 49% from three. Now, I'm not saying he's going to shoot at 49% from three for the season. But if he's at 42, 43%, Lord have mercy, look out below. Jason Tatum, right now, my number 6 player in the NBA.
Betting above the rim. Only on Sports Grid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on Sports Grid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today. Only on Sports Grid.
Are you okay with him moving to the head of the class of the Heisman with those 2 games? Because he wasn't even in the discussion before those 2 games.
This is a big opportunity for Dylan if he wants to continue to make his case for the Heisman Trophy, and I think he's shown that. You know, I mean, what is he, a 6th-tier player who's going to probably end up setting most of the passing marks because he's been around for so long? So why not also throw a Heisman Trophy in the mix?
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on Sports Grid.
Welcome back in, everybody. In-game live rolls on here. Dane Martinez and George Kurtz. Before we get to kickoff, I got to tell you, I have an under on the Chargers side, and it is J.K. Dobbins going under his rushing prop of 57.5 yards. Listen, George and I both see the Cincinnati Bengals maybe being able to put up some points. I think that dramatically changes the game script for these Chargers. I know the Chargers want to run the ball, but you heard who they have been playing lately, right? I don't think it's going to be the same. I think Justin Herbert's going to throw the ball a little bit more. J.K. Dobbins has also had a great start to the season. He finished in fantasy as a running back 1 for like 4 of the first 5 weeks, but has sort of hit something of a wall here. The other part of this is starting as of last week, we had the return of Gus Edwards. Gus Edwards actually outran J.K. Dobbins last week against the Tennessee Titans, and he only did so on 25% of the snaps. That was his first week back. Now, as he gets more and more into the flow, I actually expect Gus Edwards to have more time on the field, even further limiting the potential of J.K. Dobbins. You put it all together, I don't think J.K. Dobbins gets to 58 or 60 yards in this one, George. What do you think about that? The dramatic difference in game script that I expect for the Chargers and Gus Edwards eating into the pie for Dobbins.
Yeah, I don't mind this at all, by the way. Thought about it because I think you're reading it correctly. I don't think it's going to be a 50-50 split, but Gus Edwards is going to play. Once again, it's what Harbaugh wants to do. He wants to run the ball. And I do think tonight, like I said, this game starts at 8:20 Eastern. I don't think it's going to 11:30 Eastern, okay? I think it's going to be a short game because the Chargers are going to run, eat up clock, keep Burrow off the field. That sort of game here. So, yeah, I don't mind this at all. I think they'll be able to be successful on the ground, which is why I didn't take your bet. Because I do want there's going to be some big runs coming here. So that concerns me somewhat here. My final, as I guess, pregame prop bet, although I have actually a few others, it just goes on with the rest of what I think the game's going to be like. I don't think the Bengals are going to be able to move the ball on the ground, at least not continually and not consistently here. You look at Joe Burrow here. When he throws the ball early and often here. I went over his attempts at 36.5. So I think we'll get at least 37 attempts. He's done this 1, 2, 3 straight games here. He missed twice. Another one, he's on and off. But he's done it more often than not, including in 3 straight games. I think it's 4 tonight. Sunday night, I think they're going to have to put on a show here. They're going to have to move the ball through the air. I think it's going to be a lot of second and eights, and eventually they're going to, I don't want to say give up on the run game, but they're going to realize, okay, that's it. We have no choice here. We got to put the ball in the air, especially if the Chargers can get a lead. You're right, 3-0, 7-0, maybe a nice 10-3 lead, 10-0 lead. I would love that. That would play right into the game script that I want.
Yeah, fair enough. Listen, you talk about you think that the Chargers might be successful running the ball. Let me give you a couple of deep stats. I look at the explosive runs all the time, runs of 10 or more yards. And actually, the Cincinnati defense only allows runs of 10 or more yards 8% of the time. That's the third lowest rate in the NFL. They also allow only 1.8 yards before contact. So they are kind of stopping guys at the line a little bit. That's the seventh lowest rate or seventh lowest number for average before yards of contact in the NFL. We put it all together here. We've given you some props. We've talked to you both about why it's a big game for the Chargers, why it's a big game for the Bengals. I'm seeing right now the home team, the Los Angeles Chargers, as a small favorite at 1.5 points. I'm seeing the total in this game, George, at 48.5 points. It sounds like we both think they can score. It sounds we both think that, the Bengals can test the Chargers defense a little bit more. So I'm kind of reading the tea leaves. I'm thinking you are leaning towards the Bengals and leaning towards the over. Would I have that correct?
You are correct. I did take we're talking small play here. Nothing drastic. I don't love it. All right. Obviously, it wasn't one of my favorite picks here, so I would have put that in the 3 picks we had pregame here. But I do think the Bengals. I think it's an important game for the Bengals. They keep losing close ones. Maybe they catch a break here. And, there's a close one that finally goes their way. Also, the last time the Chargers played on a night game, that Monday night game that was on the ESPN Plus. They didn't look very good against Arizona.
Yeah, against Arizona.
Right? All right, so maybe that's in the back of my head as well here, so we'll take that. So, I said, I don't think I'll say this over and over again. I don't think we're going to have a shootout here. I don't think it's going to be 37-34. All right, I would love it, mind you, so we probably hit all our bets then. But I don't think we're going to quite get that. I think it's going to be in the more of a 24, 27-24. It's probably what I'm hoping for here. I said I just don't feel great about that either here. But I don't see the Chargers just shutting down Cincinnati. I think you can chase under control for a while, but I think you can shut them down all game. They're going to score points. And speaking of scoring, by the way, I'll get my NHL hit here. Alexander Ovechkin. 1 goal closer to Wayne Gretzky as he's just scored for the Washington Capitals to give them a 1-0 lead 6 minutes into the first period.
All right, that's pretty nice. I also saw that didn't McDavid get his 1,000th point last week, kind of like the 4th fastest to be able to do so. We are early in the NHL season. We are not so early in the NFL season, though. We've got that wild card push happening. And part of the reason that I think this is such a big game here in the AFC is not only for the Chargers, not only for the Bengals, but there's a couple of other teams fighting right now. And probably one of the more surprising results today were the Denver Broncos absolutely curb stomping, George, the Atlanta Falcons. Did I think Denver could win the game at home? Yes. Did I think they would score 30 some odd points with Bo Nix throwing for 3-4 touchdowns? Not necessarily. I mean, Denver started the season slow, but it seems like maybe they've got a little something here. Cortland Sutton, another good game. That defense at home performing well. Talk to me about these Denver Broncos, George. Do you think they're a contender here for an AFC wildcard team vis-a-vis, say, Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Miami, and some of these other teams fighting for a 9-10 win season in a wildcard?
They're definitely a contender. Sean Payton's done a pretty good job. That we know a defense is good, right? It's not the 86 Bears or 2000 Ravens here, but it's a good defense here. So it's playing well. Bo Nix, he's looking really good. He's very athletic, right? He can move around the pocket. Cortland Sutton is obviously his favorite target here. The running game, although not spectacular, has got 3 guys who can move the football. And Williams, by the way, Williams is the big guy today. We were here, but Estime all week long, right? When it was Williams today, he was the guy. Estime was used somewhat in the second half, especially in the receiving game, but not so much in the run game, especially in the first half there. And McLaughlin's sort of a little tweener guy there, but they look good. Denver, Cincinnati, week 17. If things go Cincinnati's way, that could be a playoff game.
Yeah, you're right. They did go back to Javonte Williams, 9 for 59 and a tud. Estime only 16 yards, but Bo Nix, 307 yards and 4 touchdowns in this one. When we come back on the other side of the break, the ball will be in the air. We will have the first drive, and we'll be digging into what we see between the Chargers and the Bengals on Sunday Night Football. Right here on the break.
The sharpest football contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on Sports Grid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you. Pinching your own cheek? Because I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
Together, both Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the 2 big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on Sports Grid.
Welcome back in, everybody. In-game live, Sunday Night Football style here between the Bengals and the Chargers. We have had the game kick off. It is Cincinnati with the ball first. And, George, you referenced it a little bit of kind of helping Ja'Marr Chase, maybe not being able to roll coverage over or only focus on Ja'Marr Chase. But we do have the return of T. Higgins in this one, who has missed the last couple of games. I believe a quad injury. I think he's missed the last 3 games, and he is back in this one. Talk to me a little bit about what having T. Higgins does in this offense, not only for Ja'Marr Chase, but obviously for Joe Burrow, how it opens it up for your guy Gesicki. And, this is one of the better, how do I say this? One of the better second wide receivers in the NFL, right? When you look at some of the duos in the NFL, in Philly, maybe you have a guy like Devontae Smith. In Miami, you got a guy like Waddle. Obviously, now with the acquisition of Davante Adams in New York, you can say the same thing there. It was Evans and Godwin in Tampa Bay, but with T. Higgins back here in Cincinnati, he is one of the better B-side receivers, and that does things for the entire offense, doesn't it, George?
Well, T. Higgins, we're talking about a receiver who could be at number 1 on quite a few teams, right? We are talking that much talent here. Now, granted, he has a hard time staying on the field. He seems to be hurt an awful lot. You wonder how much that's going to hurt him in free agency, and he will be a free agent next year. The Bengals are not bringing him back here. So I think T. I wouldn't put him in my top 10 wide receivers in the NFL. He's probably in that top 20 range here. So once again, a wide receiver, NFL wide receiver 1. So yeah, you have to pay attention to him. You can't just say, okay, we're going to double cover Ja'Marr no matter what. You do that, T will eat your lunch. Right? He'll have a field day out there. You mentioned the quad injury, and from what we're hearing, he could have played last week, but they said, you know what, let's give him the extra week. Well, I bring that up because I think that means he's completely healthy here. I don't think he'll be on a pitch count. I think he's going to go as much as they're going to let him go. So I think he's going to play his full quantity of snaps. I didn't play any props for T. Just to the off chance that I'm wrong. Maybe he does hurt the quad again. Maybe they are going to baby him. That sort of thing. But I think he's fine. I think he helps this offense immensely.
Yo, I got to tell you something here. Early in this drive, we already have a challenge from Harbaugh and the Chargers on a catch from Burton. And that's what I wanted to ask you, because you're on the Gesicki prop, right? And you also referenced the last Cincinnati Bengals game, which I believe was Thursday Night Football against the Ravens, right? I was on Gesicki props in that game, even without T. Higgins, because Gesicki had kind of bigged up. But let me tell you something, George. There was so many Cincinnati tight ends that got involved in the Bengals last game on Thursday Night Football. I mean, Burton got involved. Gesicki Gesicki did get involved, but there were others as well, right? And now they are continuing to have Burton be a part of this offense. So we have a challenge right out of the gate from the Los Angeles Chargers on this drive. So we'll see what happens here on this one. What are you looking for early on, right? We knew that Cincinnati was going to be trying to throw the ball, throw. This was going to be on the arm of Joe Burrow, who, like I said, leads the NFL in passing yards coming into this game, leads the NFL in passing touchdowns coming into this game. Give me a little bit of a blueprint here, George. What are you looking for to be effective for Cincinnati? Them moving the ball, staying in shotgun, Joe Burrow kind of picking them apart left and right, dinking and dunking?
Well, first off, I'd be looking for Burton. Get your damn feet in. All right. I'm not so sure he got that second foot in. That looks like he lifted it up and never got it back down, took a long stride instead of making sure he got in there. So we'll see what they're going to call here in a second here. But from what I saw, I don't see anything like it. Never mind. They're saying he was good. He got it in. You're all good. Okay. You're all good, buddy. All right. They say you got it in. You got it in. I think what you're going to see in the early part is what we're seeing so far. You already said it. A little dink and dunk here. Let's move the football, safe plays, get Burrow in rhythm. So I think that's what we're going to see here. And then they'll look to hit over the top plays. Right? And that might be, once again, second quarter, second half, whatever it might be. We know how the NFL is, right? The first 15 plays are probably scripted. Right? They've been practicing it all week, so they know exactly what they're going to do. They'll see what's working, what's not, and they'll figure it out from there. But make no mistake, they will take deep shots. It may not be right away, but this is what Cincinnati's offense does. Whether it's the Chase, whether it's the Higgins, whoever it might be, they will take their deep shots.
Yeah, and I'm seeing another replay right now. And that's the beauty of some of these new field turfs, George. When they drag the feet, you can literally see the pellets kind of fly, right? And you can get that read. And I mean, there's been a couple of these. I was watching Seattle, San Francisco earlier in the day. I thought DK Metcalf didn't necessarily have a foot down. I thought Jackson Smith and Jigba, when he went to his knees, didn't necessarily get it inbounds, but they are calling them here. We got to play action out of Joe Burrow. And here's the thing. He's got a lot of time, and Chase Brown in the receiving game. I'm telling you, Chase Brown is really interesting to me. Going into this season, George, we thought Zach Moss was going to be the lead guy in Cincinnati, but with the Zach Moss injury, Khalil Herbert coming over, I don't know that he is fully acclimated or fully in the tree of trust from Joe Burrow. I think we're going to see a lot of Chase Brown. They are giving him in the run game, and he is big in the receiving game. He just caught a pass here down the right sideline. It wasn't for a lot of yards, but if you could be on a receptions prop as well, because when he's got to dunk it down, he is going to look to Chase Brown. The Bengals are on the Chargers side of the field. They are driving. We'll let you know what happens when we come back and take them bird on third down on In Game 5.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on Sports Grid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations. The way you coach this football team, I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
Together, both Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but Nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on Sports Grid.
Welcome back in, everybody. In-game live rolls on here, Sunday Night Football style. Dane Martinez and George Kurtz. The Chargers have the ball deep in their own territory. I got to tell you something. A couple of things of note so far. They've only run 2 plays. Both of them have been runs. Like George said, maybe trying to keep the ball moving or the clock moving a little bit, right? But it is a 3-and-out. Gus Edwards was the lead back on first down. He ran for like 8 or 9 yards, effective over the left tackle. But I think it's important to note that Gus Edwards got the first snap and got the carry on 3rd and short. J.K. Dobbins goes into the line and gets absolutely nothing. Remember, early in the show, before this kicked off, I gave you J.K. Dobbins under 57.5 yards as a prop. The fact, George, that it was Edwards for 2 of the 3 carries and that Edwards looked okay, gaining 8 yards, and J.K. Dobbins got squadoosh has to make you feel decent about that prop as the Chargers go 3-and-out, give it right back to Cincinnati, who's going to have the ball in decent field position at their own 35, 36-yard line. But it's like we thought here. The Chargers running the ball, running clock, and kind of like I thought, Gus Edwards taking a larger and larger share of the action away from J.K. Dobbins, George.
Yeah, it's going to now. I'm interested now in when they get the ball back. Is it still Edwards? Is it Dobbins? If it's Edwards again, then I would think something's up. You know, because Dobbins was supposed to start the game. All right, fine. You go split carries, fine. You know, one goes here, one goes there, whatever. Maybe there's a coin toss involved. I don't know. So we'll see how that works out. But if it's him again, I'm going to wonder why. You know, what's going on here? Is there an injury we didn't know about? Are they playing something coy here? It's certainly not going with the hot handle, though. All right, Edwards was hotter last week. I'm not so sure that would matter tonight, but we'll see what's going on here. So I am very interested now to see what's going to happen in this next series for the Chargers as far as who's going to be toting the rock here. And hey, another NHL update for you. The Washington Capitals have scored again. All right, which is not good for me, by the way, because I'm on Vegas. So they're leading 2-0 in the Vegas Golden Knights. This one, I think, is also Ovechkin, by the way. Ovechkin, yeah, he's got 2 goals. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This one was Chychrun. 6, not 8. They look alike. Chychrun scores for the Capitals. 2-0 Capitals. And once again, we're about 12 and a half minutes into the first period here. That being said, Vegas is a decent come-from-behind team, but the Capitals, maybe one of the biggest pleasant surprises in the NHL this season.
Okay, we'll keep our eye on that. I will say this, though, George. I don't think there's an injury involved because J.K. Dobbins did get a carry on this first drive. They went Gus Edwards for 8, J.K. Dobbins for 0, and then Gus Edwards for 1. So, you know, Dobbins did get in. It's just like they gave Gus Edwards the ball first. And, you know, I think what's important here is a lot of people kind of remember that J.K. Dobbins was off to this great start of the season, but he has sort of hit a little bit of a wall. And if you go all the way back to late August, early September, people thought Gus Edwards was going to be the lead of the Chargers run game. You know, J.K. Dobbins kind of came out of nowhere. Remember, he was good in Baltimore, but he's always had issues staying available, staying healthy. And, you know, so we'll see about that. But I really did think that Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins was going to be something of a legitimate 60-40 kind of timeshare. At least that's what I thought the Chargers believed going into the season. And then we also saw the emergence of J.K. Dobbins. We even saw guys like Kamani Vidal, their rookie, get involved when Gus Edwards was out. But that's part of the reason I went under here for J.K. Dobbins. I think Gus Edwards is going to be involved. He outran J.K. Dobbins last week. And like I said at the top of the show, he did so on only 25% of the snaps. So if this is more of a 50-50 share, that further eats into Dobbins. We'll see what Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals do on their second drive. Right away, they find Ja'Marr Chase. I think this is your longest reception right here already, George, because we've got a reception. It is to Ja'Marr Chase. And yeah, bro, what was it, 24 and a half? you said? Because we have a 32-yard reception out of Jamar Chase. So right away, unless there is any yellow laundry on the field, and I do not see any, we have already cashed one of our props here for the people on just the first catch for Jamar Chase. And I mean, George, last week, what did he have? Like 260 some odd yards, something like that. Huge bombs over the top. So that was a good find for you. We have already banked one of our props with the Jamar Chase 32-yard catch to start this drive, George.
And then you jinxed it. Next play, there's lots of laundry, right? The face mask. They got a face mask.
That doesn't impact your prop. Oh, they did?
Yeah, they called the face mask on. Looks like I guess Chase Brown got face mask down. It was a good call.
Yep.
Right call. So Cincinnati's going to be in the red zone.
Field goal range already.
Actually, they could have called the face mask. That's not a horse collar. He grabbed the nameplate, so I don't think they could call. Oh, they did call horse collar. That's a bad call.
Well, it's 15 yards, whatever it is, and they're on the Chargers' 32-yard line, George. So just like you said, they're already in field goal range. We have our first scoring.
But they missed the face mask again. It's amazing. They don't call face masks anymore.
Oh, they got the horse collar instead. Maybe, but you said there was multiple.
Same difference.
I saw two guys throw it, so maybe they just decided to announce one of them. You know what I mean? That could be it as well here.
Look
but
at
since
Dave's
he's moving
giving
here,
the benefit of the doubt.
I am. It's not like we got the volume up here. Oh, George, they might have called both of them because they're moving all the way down here. They are now on the Chargers' like 16-yard line. They might have enforced not one but two of them here.
Just one. You never
I don't know,
unless it's after the play. They started at the 45. You got a 32-yard play, and then 15, 47. No. You are where you're supposed to be.
I mean,
do the math. 32 George. Plus 15 is 47, and you started the ball at your own 45. They're where they should be.
No, they started the ball on their 35, George.
Or maybe at the 40, but they never enforce two penalties on the same play unless one is a dead ball.
One of them could have been after the play, right? So we'll see. We'll see whatever happened. The moral of the story is they're in the red zone.
Let's find out.
They're in the red zone right here. Of course there is. The moral of the story is they are inside here, and we've got anytime touchdowns to talk about. We've got Chase Brown going into the middle of the line here. It's going to be 3rd and short. It looks like it's going to be 3rd and short. They are inside the 5-yard line. Play offensive coordinator here. 3rd and short. Do you continue to run the ball?
By the way.
Or do you play action?
3rd and short, you lined up in shotgun. Why are you doing that?
I don't like that at all. I don't like that at all. You're definitely ahead of me here. So you let us know what winds up happening. This could be Gesicki. This could also be where T. Higgins gets involved. If they want to get T. Higgins involved early, he is that kind of big, lanky red zone threat. So we'll see what they do here. I don't know if they run the ball here. This could be Joe Burrow. You know, you want Joe Burrow attempts. I like Joe Burrow touchdown passes. They do run the ball out of shotgun, and he barely gets in there, okay? I'm with you, though, George. If you're going to run the ball here, why give the defense, like, 4 extra yards coming out of shotgun, right?
I just think, once again, because maybe you have no intention of ever running the Joe Burrow, right? Because that was inches. That wasn't a foot. That was inches, right? Just sneak it for crying out loud. But maybe you don't want to do that. Like Pat Mahomes will never do it, right? Because he got he hit his ankle in the one place, so they don't do it with him. Maybe Burrow's the same way. But I just think when you do that, you're telling the defense, I'm probably going to throw the ball. I think you just limit your options here. Let them think you might sneak it. You know, once again, they got to play old. They got to get a little closer. They got to think about going down to get your offensive lineman out. You got to make a play out of it. I just don't think it's smart.
I will say this, George. You know what I have seen more and more, and I've even seen the Cincinnati Bengals do this. You have the quarterback line up in shotgun, and then they wind up having like the tight end go in motion, and the tight end winds up getting under center and then sneaking it. I have seen that play happen a few times here. I saw Cincinnati do that on Thursday Night Football last week. That's kind of the answer to what you were talking about. But it seems like you're ahead of me. We are at second goal once again in shotgun. But I have seen that, George. They run the tight end in motion, and then the tight end kind of gets under center, and that's the sneak. The Jets tried that earlier today as well. They ran Conklin in motion, and they had him sneak it. I've seen Burton do that for the Cincinnati Bengals. So maybe that's kind of the answer. But it doesn't matter what formation they were in because it was an illegal formation and a legal shift, and that will back them up. So when we come back on the other side of the break, we will let you know if the Cincinnati Bengals do get it in. They're going to be here now, not only on the 2-yard line, they're going to be back Joe Burrow's probably going to be throwing the ball. I think this is going to go to T. Higgins. I think they're going to get T. Higgins involved here in his return for the Cincinnati Bengals. We'll see what happens. We'll see if there are any points on the board when we come back. Bengals threatening right here on In Game Live, Sunday Night Football style.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on Sports Grid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you. Pinching your own cheek? As I was looking down and did not know we were getting...
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
Together, both Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on Sports Grid.
We have points on the board, all right. Evan McPherson has put a chip shot field goal through the uprights, and the Cincinnati Bengals take a 3-0 lead in this one. Joe Burrow was scrambling around, wound up getting called for an intentional grounding, hit Jamar Chase, but they were short. They bring in McPherson for the field goal. That one is good. So let's reset the deck here now, George, because we've got a 3-0 game. And here's where I want to ask you, you were saying before that you thought the Chargers were going to kind of, bleed the clock a little bit, right? Run the ball a lot. This game started with a total of 48.5. Now we are, halfway through the first quarter, and we've only got 3 points on the board. The live total has gone down to 43.5. Does that change your thinking on this one at all? Because this one, to me, I think this could be an opportunity actually to go over the 43.5, George. This one feels a little bit to me like, you know how like in the early rounds of a prize fight, you feel each other out a little bit, right? And then it kind of opens up on some level. I think that we've gone through a quarter of action. We're only at 3-0. I don't think that's going to be the pace for the rest of this game. I think now that we have gone down 5 points on the live total to 43.5, I think that might be an opportunity to go over. What do you think about the end of that drive for Cincinnati? And do you agree that while we may be off to a slow start, it could open up and provide an opportunity here on the live total?
Yeah, I see where you're going with this, and I don't disagree. Once again, we're still in the 15 play script, right? Cincinnati's probably out of it, but the Chargers are still in it. So they're still feeling things out here. I want to see what they do on their second drive here. If they change it up, you mentioned it earlier. They had 3 plays. They ran all 3 times. So let's see what they change it up here. If they can give Herbert a little bit more trust and put that ball in the air. I think that last drive is a win for the Chargers, by the way. Cincinnati had first and
Getting
goal. They
three.
were driving, looking good, and then sort of self-destructive there at the end here, going backwards here. So I think that's a win. I think pretty much any time you settle for a field goal rather than a touchdown, the defense will take that all the time here. So, listen, you aren't going to shut him out. Not a big deal here. I don't think this changes Harbaugh's script at all, by the way. If he was planning on taking the air out of the ball and run, being down 3-0 doesn't change that. Now, if they go 3 and out here or don't score and they put the ball back and it's 10-0, well, that will change things dramatically.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And by the way, so far the Cincinnati Bengals have run 13 plays. Joe Burrow with 8 passing attempts. Chase Brown has tried on the ground a couple of times or 5 times as well. So they are still within, like you said, that 15-play script. It is the Chargers coming back in. And you mentioned something here. Would they get kind of forced out of the game plan, right? And I'm with you. I don't think Harbaugh is going to abandon anything. I do still think they're going to be a run-heavy team. They run the ball 49% of the time. That is the 6th highest rate, George, in the NFL. They want to have that identity, right? That's why Harbaugh and Roman, we know they came over from Baltimore, and what do you know? They bring over not 1, but 2 of the Baltimore backs. But on first down, they play action, but they get to Herbert. So now they are behind the chains here for 2nd and long. That's going to probably wind up having Herbert start to put the ball in the air. And let me ask you something. Out of these Chargers wide receivers, I know you didn't give any props on the Chargers side. The only one I gave was the J.K. Dobbins under. But out of these wide receivers, the Palmers of the world, the Ladd McConkeys, who I think is a good, promising rookie, the kid out of Georgia, and then also Quentin Johnston, the second-year kid out of TCU. Who do you think is like the alpha here in this Charger pass game? Will Dissly, the tight end, has actually been coming on a little bit lately as one of the favorite targets for Justin Herbert. But if you're in this one, like, who is Herbert looking to? He's looking to call his own number, it looks like. In a big-time scramble, they pick up the first down now around midfield. Justin Herbert running the rock. Maybe he'll be the leading rusher for the Chargers tonight. But who do you think is the kind of the guy on these wide receivers that Herbert will be looking to when they need it? Third down conversions and trying to get him back in this game.
Yeah, I don't think there's any alpha on this team as far as a true alpha. I mean, every team like this has to have a wide receiver 1. If we're looking at that, then I would probably go McConkey. But I think, and with this offense, I think it's whoever, maybe the hot hand, who's ever getting open. I don't think Herbert necessarily locks in on one guy. It's not like Darnold looking at Jefferson or whatever. Dak with CD when he's healthy. They don't have that guy. I think Herbert's looking for the matchup that he thinks is best here. I think he looks at it he's lining up pre-pass, and then he goes from there. And that's the guy he's going to go through. The closest guy I thought about betting tonight as far as a Chargers wide receiver, and I did not do this, was Quentin Johnston. Because he's another guy, need one play, and I think he'll get his shots. And we know the Cincinnati secondary has their issues. So there was that one guy, it was Quentin Johnston that I was looking at.
All right. Fair enough here. Like I said, that 20-yard scramble does, in fact, have Justin Herbert as the leading rusher in this game. And, they haven't pounded the rock on this drive. Gus Edwards is back in the backfield here for the Los Angeles Chargers. Before, when Dobbins was in, there was play action to him. Play action again on this one. Herbert with a lot of room. And he finds the guy we're just talking about, Ladd McConkey, the rookie out of Georgia here, but he maybe looks like the air came out of him on that one. Maybe he fell on the ball. He is out of bounds, and there is a flag on this play as well. So we'll see what winds up happening
his shoulder,
there.
By the way.
Looks like a shoulder injury he's trying to work out. So that can also change the dynamic here. We may have to look at some of these receiving props. They'll definitely lock them right now. But if you take McConkey out of the mix, then all of a sudden Quentin Johnston, Joshua Palmer, Will Dissly as well, they become more viable. So we'll see what happens here. I mean, this was a defensive call on the Chargers. You might add that to the play. Ladd McConkey with a nice catch here. Looks like now the Chargers will be in they'll be in scoring distance. And George Kurtz has a premonition with his crystal ball here. Another play action out of Justin Herbert. And what do you know? They get it in. It is Will Dissly. I've been telling you guys, Will Dissly has become one of these favorite targets here for Justin Herbert. The Chargers take a 6-3 lead pending the extra point. Remember, I just told you with 43.5, kind of it came down 5 points, that there was an opportunity here. And now, your Joe Burrow passing attempts prop, I think, looks real good, George, right? Because now it's not the Chargers needing to catch up. It's the Cincinnati Bengals that are down. So what did you say, 36.5? I'm going to tell you right now, Chase Brown isn't going to get many rushing attempts on this upcoming drive here as the Chargers do, in fact, go up 7-3. The extra point is good. When we come back on the other side, we will once again reset the deck. We'll see what it has done to the total. We'll see what it has done to the live spread. And we'll see what Joe Burrow does now, down by 4 points. Hint, hint, he's going to put the ball up to Jamar Chase and these other wide receivers. And we'll see what happens on In Game Live.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on Sports Grid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma will do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
Together, both Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on Sports Grid.
Welcome back in Game Live, Sunday Night Football style here for the Chargers and the Bengals. Like we said, the Chargers get a touchdown. It is now 7-3 Los Angeles. Here's where I want to go with you. We only got a couple minutes left until, we hit the top of the hour. We all think Joe Burrow is going to throw the ball a ton. Jamar Chase already has 47 yards, George. They're hanging 112.5 as his receptions. T. Higgins does not have a catch just yet. They're hanging a number in the mid-40s for him. Chase Brown, who I've told you about. We got Mike Gesicki. Chase Brown, they're hanging 26.5. Gesicki does not have a catch yet. His prop, I know you were on it at like 29.5. It's down to 20. Out of these live numbers, who would you be more likely to bet now that the Bengals have a passing game script? Do you think it's still, Jamar Chase? They're hanging 114.5. He's already got 47. You got to think they're going to continue to try to pepper him with targets, right?
Yeah, I don't care what the total is right now. He's just doing the math here. What was it? It was 114. He's at 50, 40. He's less than 60 yards. Less than 60 yards for three quarters plus here. So it's absolutely Jamar Chase, as we just see T. Higgins finally make his first reception for about 15 yards here. You want the Bengals to be down, which, that defense didn't get any better. We just saw that last drive. That pass defense did not get any better. And maybe Harbaugh's going to realize, maybe we can't run against them, but we can throw against them. We can hit them. So maybe this will be a higher scoring game than we thought here. But in game, it's absolutely right now Jamar Chase. And by the way, if the Bengals happen not to score here and the Chargers do again, you can go across the board here because that's all Burrow will be doing the rest of the night is throwing the ball.
Okay, so let's think about that. Like, I also like, the term you used earlier in the show was kind of how, like, before it was on Harbaugh's side, that he's not going to abandon the script, right? And I love what you're talking about. If we get kind of more than a one-score game, especially Cincinnati down, then all of a sudden that passing game script comes in for Cincinnati. I think we could look at all the Burrow numbers, not only the Burrow yards, but the Burrow completions, the Burrow attempts. All of those things could start to go into play. And then on the other side, maybe we do see some more on the Chargers side rushing the ball, but I'd be interested in those Gus Edwards numbers because the book thinks it's J.K. Dobbins as the lead back, but what we have seen with our own eyes is that Gus Edwards continues to get the snaps. So we need to file that one away to see if, in fact, we get beyond a one-score game, what can happen here. It does look like they've got a sack of Joe Burrow. But do you buy that, George? Do you do that sometimes? Because I do with the 1 o'clock games. I look around the whole league and I see where are there teams that are up by more than a score, and then I play that. I look at the yards for the quarterback that's trailing. I look for the attempts and the completions for the quarterbacks that are trailing. I look for the running backs for the teams that are up and are going to try to be running the ball a little bit more for any games where the game script or the blueprint maybe has to be abandoned. If you think we could get to that spot here in Cincinnati, and with Joe Burrow, that's a perfect kind of candidate to do that. So we got to keep an eye on his passing prop number as well, right? Right, George? What I'm seeing right now is Joe Burrow already has 80 yards, and they're hanging 299 and a half. This could be a volume passing game for Joe Burrow.
It's almost going to have to be, right? So, yes, I have no problem going over his yardage total either here from this point. They got their first big decision of the game will be made here with a 4th and 1. I assume they'll go
35?
for it, but we'll see. Yeah, I assume they're going. They are going to go. At least they're trying to go for it. I don't think they're drawing them off signs, but who knows? All right, we'll see what they're going to call here. But I assume they're going to go for it here. So yeah, I think once again, you and I have both thought all game long that running the ball, they might want to keep the Chargers honest, but to move the ball, they're going to have to throw the ball. Right. So I like most of the props that involve Joe Burrow throwing the ball here, and they called timeout.
Really? Because I was wondering here, it's real
left.
close with the clock.
With 1 second left in the first quarter. I didn't see if the clocks were even.
No, they would have to have gotten the playoff. They would have had to get in the playoff. The play clock was less than the game clock. So like you said, they called timeout with 1 second left on the play clock, and there is then 2 seconds left on the game clock. They would have had to get the play off, but we are going to come back. We are going to start a brand new hour here on In Game Live, and when we do, it'll probably be the end of the first quarter. We'll see what they're going to do. Here's what I think they're going to do. I think they're going to something you hate, George. I think they're going to run the ball out of shotgun formation. I think we're going to see Chase Brown in one of those little draws, but out of the shotgun. And I think the Chargers are going to wind up stopping them. So it will wind up changing the game script once again here. But this is kind of that no man's land territory, right? Long field goal. You don't want to punt it. So they probably are going to wind up going for it here. They put a couple of seconds back on the clock, to your other point, George. 3 seconds left in the first quarter, which shows you that they did have to, in fact, either run a play or call timeout here. So I think they're going to run. I think they're going to actually go for it. They are in shotgun formation. There's no power football left in the NFL, George, except if your name is King Henry out in Baltimore. So we'll see what happens. We'll update you, and we'll start a fresh hour here for Monday Night Football on In Game Live.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on Sports Grid.
probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you. Pinching your own cheek? Because I was
that's what your
looking down
grandma
and did
does,
not
right?
know we were getting...
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line. Only on Sports Grid.
Together, both Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on Sports Grid.
Here we go. We're
All
back
right,
here
so
on
we're back
In-Game
here on
Live.
In-Game Live. Oh, Dane is with us. Dane is so shocked. So shocked that they're overturning that call that we think they're going to overturn that call.
I am. And here's the thing. They're not running the ball on short yardage again. What they do is they go 5 wide. They hit T. Higgins over the middle. And we've got a lot of things to update you on. And I want to get your feelings on some of this. They go ahead, T. Higgins with a little slant route. They convert the first down. But then the ball pops out. One of the guys on the Chargers takes it and goes all the way. The refs, as they are taught to do in this, they let the play go on, right? But then it is clear, it is obvious that his knees were down, that his elbows were down. So it will be Cincinnati 1st and 10 deeper into Chargers territory. It is the end of the first quarter. But also on that play, George, T. Higgins looked like he got banged up a little bit. They go to commercial. We'll find out what happens. I have so many questions for you on this. First of all, the idea that they've got to let the play go on, right? That's the way they are instructed to do so, because they could always go back and look at it on any kind of turnover if that's the way they call it on the field. So I think that's the right way to do it. Here's what I hate, okay? These defenders, they know he was down, but yet they still go all run down to the end zone and take like the team picture. And what do they wind up doing? They wind up getting themselves winded. They've got defensive linemen running the length of the field, trying to celebrate with the rest of their team, and then they're gassed a little bit. That didn't happen because it's the end of the quarter on this one, so he'll have a little bit of time. And then T. Higgins does look a little bit banged up. He was walking off the field with some trainers, and that has locked all of the receiving props for the Cincinnati Bengals. But the Bengals are moving the ball in Chargers territory. They convert on 4th down.
I do fantasy sports today with Craig Mish. And in the last segment, we have, I call it a bitch minute, where each of us gets a chance to discuss something we want to talk about. For me, I usually complain about something. And that's one thing I complained about. All right, the picture thing in the end zone after a turnover, it's done. It's old. Do something else. All right, I'm tired of it. I'm just tired of it. Some of the things you said are true. Right? It's just, in my mind, it's a little ridiculous. All right, it's over and done with. It was fun for a little while here, but it's been 4 or 5 years now. Can we please move on? They're checking out T. Higgins' back, by the way, and I'm very happy they didn't pull down his pants. I don't need another Mike Tyson of seeing somebody's backs on national TV.
That was wild, George. I have so many things to say about that Netflix production. First of all, you couldn't do any better than Cedric the Entertainer and Rosie Perez. You couldn't get Jerry Jones's mic to work. You, as Netflix, didn't know that you would have tens of millions of people streaming the live event and didn't have the bandwidth to do this. I mean, they've got NFL games on the horizon. They've got Monday Night Raw that live on the horizon. Those two institutions could not be happy about the fact that Netflix did not look prepared to be able to handle all of the people that were watching that live. I mean, I don't know if you clearly watched it. I was buffering the whole damn time. I had audio issues, and it sounds like they did as well in the building. I do not think Netflix came off looking good after that. What was clearly a carnival spectacle instead of a boxing match, but I think Netflix was the big loser in that one, George.
You already mentioned it. You said the NFL is certainly paying attention, right? They had a couple of Christmas Day games, huge audiences. So I guess in some ways you're hoping this was a trial run. You saw what happened, what was wrong, and you figure it out from there. Now listen, I had it on. I didn't really see the fight. I don't remember. There was hockey on. I was working. I didn't really see it, so I didn't care really. The bottom line, but I was somewhat. If I was free, I'd have been paying attention to see what would have happened here. Although I didn't think Tyson had a snowball's chance in hell against a guy that's less than half his age. So it is what it is there. But I can tell you from what I had, I didn't have any buffering problems. So there is that. But no, mine was good. Well, at least when I watched it was good. So it is what it is. I know some people had problems, some people didn't. We'll see. But if they screw up during the NFL, there'll be an uproar. There'll be an uproar if people can't see their bets, and we don't know what our fantasy teams are doing, if they're having any issues. I don't know what the games are on Christmas. I didn't go that far ahead of the schedule, so I don't know if there are big time games anyway. But that won't matter. We bet on everything. We don't care. We bet on preseason games, more or less. Regular season. So I really hope they figure out their issues.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think the NFL was certainly watching, and you might have been one of the only people who didn't have buffering issues. I'll let you know, T. Higgins back on the field. He did, in fact, catch that last pass from Joe Burrow. So that's nice to see that he was back out there, and the Cincinnati Bengals are moving the ball. They are now, it's going to be a 4th down here on the Chargers' 9-yard line. We'll see what winds up happening in this one, if they go for it again, or if they wind up running McPherson back out here. What do you do in this situation here, George? You probably have access to the results already, as they tried to hit up Yoshivas, I believe, on 3rd down. That did not happen. 4th and 2 here. It does look like, what would you do? Because I think sometimes, I understand we've gone to the extreme on going for it on 4th down. I think there are certain score combinations where it's really smart. Like I saw, for example, the Green Bay Packers today could have taken a 2-score lead, and they did not do so, and they went for it and got stuffed. There are times where I do not believe, I think taking the 3 points, discretion is the better part of valor at some points here, but it does look like they're going to run McPherson out to make it a 1-point game. And then this way, even if the Chargers do score, it is still a 1-possession game. I'm okay with this decision to go ahead and take the 3, which is in fact good for McPherson and the Cincinnati Bengals. We are now 7-6 Chargers. What do you say? Would you have taken that field goal there as well, George?
I always lean more towards going for it, but in this situation, I likely would have kicked the field goal as well, mainly because you're playing the Chargers. You're not playing the Ravens, where it's going to be an 80-point ball game. Where field goals is not going to do it. You got to go for it. Right now, I know a Chargers went right down the field last time. Let's see them do it again before I start making those kind of decisions here, right? You did stop them on their first drive here. So I would have taken the field goal as well. You already said the reason. No matter what happens this drive, it's still a 1-score game. I don't think they're going for 2. We have to worry about that. So I would have gone for the field. I would have been happy about it, Dane, but I would have taken – I'm a big believer in taking the points unless, it's 4th and inches, I'm going for it. Anything like that. But 4th and 2 – I said I wouldn't be happy about it, but I would have kicked the field goal as well here. By the way, the Vegas Golden Knights have scored, so it's now 2-1. Washington leads Vegas. Second period just started. Vegas scored at the end of the first period, by the way. Brett Houghton, if anybody had that anytime goal scorer. And if you did, you're a better man than I am, because there's no way I'm ever betting a Brett Houghton anytime goal here. 2-1. Washington leads Vegas here. 17:40 left in the second period. And by the way, this is Logan Thompson's return to Vegas. Ex-Vegas goalie signed with Washington as a free agent during the offseason.
All right, good to know. You're going to keep an eye out on that. I know one thing, that 2-goal lead is never safe in the NHL. So I wonder what kind of number we could have got when it was 2-0 Washington. I will say this, though. Remember how when it was just 3-0, I talked about how the live total had gone down to 43.5, down from 48.5. And I said that I thought it was going to pick up a little bit. Well, since then, the Chargers scored a touchdown. Since he came right back and got a field goal, it's now 7-6. And what do you know? The live total, George, is at 49.5. So when I said going over the 43.5, now you have it at 49.5. And if this one winds up a game in the 20s, you have a potential for a middle. I know you said that you were in agreement with me that the 43.5, we could have gone over. What are you saying? You think we're going to start to get more and more? Would you just let this total continue to rise? Or would you be interested in what could be a 6-point middle? I mean, right now, George, you can get over 43.5 if you listened to us earlier, and under 49.5. And I got to tell you the truth. You were talking about a game. You were talking about a tight game somewhere in the 20s. This could definitely fall between 43 and 50, couldn't it?
It can. It'd be nice if Cincinnati stops settling for field goals. They got to get that ball in the end zone. It sort of looks like Chargers are playing a little bend but don't break. right? We know we can't stop them. Let's not go let touchdowns here. So I'm a little concerned about what's going on here. I want to see Cincinnati get in the end zone. All right, so like I said, we've lost point. If you have an over right now, you're a little concerned here because we're not getting the touchdowns here. Washington scores again, by the way, 3-1 Capitals over Vegas, 17-11. No score, Rangers, Seattle Kraken.
All right. Well, listen, Joe Burrow leads the league with 24 passing touchdowns. I do believe eventually we're going to see 7s instead of 3s from the Cincinnati Bengals. We'll see what happens as the Chargers get the ball. We'll see if the scoring can continue here. Early second quarter, it is in-game live, Sunday Night Football style. Dane Martinez and George Kurtz back. That's it.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on Sports Grid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma will do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
Together, both Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the 2 big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on Sports Grid.
Welcome back in, everybody. We have another score in this game. The Los Angeles Chargers go right down the field. They hit Quentin Johnston, they hit Will Dissly, and then they hit Quentin Johnston for a touchdown pass right out of the gate, and we've got 14-6. Los Angeles Chargers, the extra point here is good. And with 11 minutes still left to go in the second quarter, the Los Angeles Chargers are up 14-6. And we've got, you were talking about, George, that you didn't think we were going to see a shootout, but we may now, in fact, have a shootout. The live total, George, is now up to 54.5. I remember telling people when it dropped to 43.5 to get over that this one was going to open up, and we now have the position that we like for some of our pregame bets. The Joe Burrow attempts, right? The Chase Brown over, the Jamar Chase overs, T. Higgins getting involved back on the field. I'm going to tell you, this one does look like they're going back and forth. And I got to say this, when Harbaugh and Roman came over for the Los Angeles Chargers, a lot of people thought they were going to be just so run heavy. But George, you have a phenom in his mid-20s in Justin Herbert under center, right? You got to let the guy sling it on some level. He is doing so, and he is doing so well. He is 6 for 6 on the game so far, 123 yards and 2 touchdowns. And now they give Joe Burrow the ball back, who by himself is 10 of 14 for 103 yards. So I'm looking at some of these passing props right now for Joe Burrow. He's at 103 yards. They're hanging 312.5 for him. He has has 10 completions. They're hanging 29.5 for him. I think that these are good numbers to maybe go over because they're down by a score, and it looks like the Chargers also know that Joe Burrow and the Bengals can score, so they are not taking the air out of the ball. They're not parking the proverbial bus. They are looking to keep up with the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, think about it. Gus Edwards, 2 carries. J.K. Dobbins, 2 carries. And by the way, J.K. Dobbins, 2 carries for 3 yards. Last time I checked, George, 3 is a hell of a lot lower than 57.5. But do you think this is going to continue if Joe Burrow answers? Herbert answers on the other side. I gave you the passing prop numbers. Are you ready to go over even more for these 2 young stud quarterbacks?
I mean, I credit Harbaugh, by the way. He didn't want to what his team. He didn't want to take the air out of the ball. He knew the way they would attack Cincinnati. Put the ball in the air. You mentioned Herbert's great, right? He's a great quarterback. I think Harbaugh coming into this year did plan on, okay, we're going to run the ball. We're going to run the ball. We're going to play 20 to 17 games. We won't make a mistake in the fourth quarter. They will. We'll make the big play to win the game. I think that's the way he wanted to play until he realized, oh, Herbert is that good. And I may not have Keenan Allen anymore. I may not have Mike Williams anymore, but I got decent receivers. Decent. They may not be great, but Herbert makes them better. And he makes everybody better because of how good he is here. So this game has not been the kind of script that we may have thought here. This is why I was worried about this game. I wasn't dead sure Harbaugh would play that script. I said that earlier. That's why I didn't have a million bets here. But I'm going in on. I now have 2 more Jamar Chase props. I took the 114 over half. I took one. It's down to 103.5 now. He's at 47. We're only in the second quarter here. 11:02. He might get this by halftime. There's no way he's going the next 2 drives.
Because they're going to go over the top at least once or twice, right?
They're going to do this all day now, all day. So I'm going to be on Jamar Chase heavy here. Give me his over 103.5. I think, like I said, I'd be shocked if he doesn't get it here, assuming Joe Burrow stays healthy. Because I think it's the only way he doesn't get it is either him or Burrow go out here. So I think Burrow's a very good bet. T. Higgins is locked. I can't see what he was at. So
T. Higgins is at 73.5. Higgins has 34. He's at 73.5. Chase Brown, 24.5. Gesicki, 22.5. And boom! Now Burrow missed Gesicki right there.
That would have been my prop right there.
Yeah,
should have hit.
Probably would have been.
Once again, I'm on Gesicki 2.5 catches. I think he'll get that now too. That they're trailing here. They should be throwing a lot more early and often. So I think we're all good here. All right, no reason to panic yet, but I'm looking at all the overs now.
The Jamar Chase number, I think, is absolutely ridiculous.
It was 102.5 before this drive.
It's 101.5. He's got 47. I think that's a play, George, right?
I already said that. I'm already on it. I'm on it twice. I'm on at 103.5 and I'm on at 114.5. So yes, I think he's going to have a big rest of this game. There's no choice here. Once again, we are only 5 minutes into the second quarter here. We have plenty of time.
Yeah, I will say this also. Ladd McConkey, questionable to return due to a shoulder injury. That as per our guy Adam Schefter out there. So we did see that, right? When McConkey had it, he went out of bounds and he was working the shoulder. They are now saying he is questionable to return. And I think that helps the Quentin Johnston number. If you want to know the truth, I think Josh Palmer is only at 18.5 right now. Josh Palmer, 18.5 is what they're hanging with 0 so far. The Quentin Johnston number, I think, is interesting as well. Joe Burrow gets sacked. And here's the deal. They are now going to have to kick the ball back to the Chargers. I love this Jamar Chase number, and I think there is plenty of reason to think that, as you say here, this is going to open up on both sides, right? Because since he is now down, and when they get the ball back, they're going to be down again. We're going to have something of a 2-minute drill at some point here for Cincinnati. I love the Jamar Chase number. And then also, George, with McConkey questionable to return, that really opens it up for the options on the Chargers side as well. Because when you take McConkey's slice of the pie out of it, especially guys like Quentin Johnston and Josh Palmer, the Josh Palmer 18.5 number as one of the primary targets here, I think is interesting as well. Right, George?
Oh, I'm with you. I'm absolutely with you. Quentin Johnston's more of a deep play guy. We saw that with a touchdown pass there, but he's given a second chance here, right? With the new regime. So I'm with you on Quentin Johnston. Also, you can make an argument for Disley too, and he's 29 more yards the rest of the game as well here. I don't think I'm going to go that direction here, but I'll put a little sprinkle on Quentin Johnston. I don't mind going in his direction as well. I don't see. I almost said San Diego, but I didn't. I don't see Los Angeles, going into a shell now. All right, it's only 14-6. All right, I think they'd have to score at least one more time before they think about going into, let's kill clock now. We're doing so well running, we're doing so well passing the ball, especially deep passes to their secondary. Let's continue to attack them.
Yeah, I would think so as well. That would be my only concern with the Chargers side. If they do score again and get a 2-touchdown lead, then maybe they change their approach a little bit. But by the way, it's Gus Edwards continuing to run the ball for the Chargers. He picks up something like 6 yards there on his last carry. This is Gus the Bus. It is not J.K. Dobbins. So that is also very interesting of note here. But I'm going to be on this other side on the commercial break. I'm going to hit this Ja'Marr Chase pop. You should too. Get it at the number now before we come back on In Game Live.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on Sports Grid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma will do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
Together, both Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the 2 big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on Sports Grid.
Welcome back in. In-game live rolls on Sunday Night Football style. Dane Martinez and George Kurtz watching the Chargers and the Cincinnati Bengals. The Chargers have the ball again in 1st and goal territory. Justin Herbert with a big scramble. And again, Gus Edwards seems to be the running back of note here. J.K. Dobbins is on the field on 1st and goal, but it doesn't matter because that's when they're throwing the ball. Gus Edwards with more carries, more yards. I mean, Herbert is leading the Chargers in rushing. What do we got here, George? You're a little bit ahead of me. I see a flag. I see laundry on the field here on this one. They're going to call what? Oh, personal foul on Cincinnati. It's going to be an automatic first down. Again, 1st and goal for a little touch. For a little touch there, George? What, we're not allowed to touch a quarterback? Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Just put flags on. Just put flags on him then. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's just utterly ridiculous because he pushed
I'm seeing the replay on that one. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, that's just. I mean, come on. That's just a joke. The refs wonder why they get crucified here. All right, because they call stuff like that. Crap like that. You called a 15-yard penalty. Granted, it wasn't the most. Oh my God, it's a 3rd down. You may give a first. It was a 1st down anyways. Give him half the distance here, but you can't call that. You just can't call that. You want to give a warning for it? Yeah, listen, you were close there. You're supposed to don't do it again. I'm fine with that, but you can't be calling out a penalty. It just cheapens the game, in my opinion.
No, I hear you. It makes it very hard to play defense. It is very hard to play defense in the NFL these days, right? But let me ask you this. 2nd and goal here from the 2. if the Chargers go here into pay dirt yet again, all of a sudden, right, with Cincinnati down by 2 scores, there is no limit to the idea of the passing props, the receiving props that we are going to start to get. I'll also throw out here for you the Chase Brown under rushing prop or under rushing attempts, I think, become live as well, because we may then be in the territory here with the idea of, Cincinnati kind of abandoning the game plan, needing to just go ahead and throw the ball. It looks like they got very close, and it looks like it was Haskins, their third back, who is in there right now. Again, not J.K. Dobbins, so that under looks pretty decent. It looks like they're trying to get everybody except for J.K. Dobbins involved. It's going to be 3rd and inches right there at the goal line. George, I'm telling you, I think we have great opportunities with Cincinnati in the pass game and their props moving forward.
I agree. You'll get no argument from me because they're going to have to throw the ball. Although this is an interesting decision here. It's 4th down from whoever ran the ball, I didn't see it. Lost about a half a yard. So it's 4th down from the 1. Haskins from again. So it's going to be 4th down here. And you're going for it. You're not going to kick the field goal here, but Cincinnati can hold them here. Once again, it's a huge win. As soon as they can do something on offense. This is one of those
situations, George. I know you say they're not going to. I know you say they're not going to kick it. Ooh, I saw an overhead cam, which makes it look. I saw an overhead cam, which makes it look like he might have stretched that ball across the goal line. They're not showing it.
Didn't.
No, he didn't get it. All right, I got to tell you something, George. They're not going to do it. They're going to probably go for it here. But this is one of those situations. You're already up 8. If you were to kick the field goal, you make it a 2-score game. And this is one of the boundaries here. This is one of the lines of demarcation where you get up 2 scores as opposed to 1. They're going to go for it. I know they're going to go for it. But I think kicking the field goal is a viable option to give you a 2-score lead. Maybe they don't do it because it's still the second quarter, but I really do feel like a 2-score lead is different than a 1-score lead in the NFL. I know they're going to go for it. I would consider kicking the field goal. And I know in 2024, nobody thinks this way. And I get what the sabermetricians would say, but I actually think taking a 2-score lead is a viable option here, George.
I see what you're saying. I would not kick the field goal. I'm going, what's your worst case scenario? You don't get it. You pin him at the 1 yard line. You might get the ball better for a touchdown anyway. And you got in, so it didn't matter. All right. But even if they didn't get in here, you would have pinned them down there, and here you go. You might get the ball back on a punt if they don't go anywhere, and you get the ball back.
Yeah, you might get Jamar Chase for 95 yards the other way, and all of a sudden it's tied. That's also viable.
You're okay. He'd only be at the 4-yard line.
But they did in fact get in. They did, in fact, get in, and it was J.K. Dobbins. But guess what? That only adds 1 yard to his rushing total, George. So I'm not concerned about that. He is still well under the prop that we are talking about. And now we do have that situation where the Chargers are up big in this one. The game script is heavy for the Cincinnati Bengals to be throwing the ball. Joe Burrow right now is 11 for 16 with 109 yards. He is going to be throwing. Jamar Chase with 47, T. Higgins with 34. All of these Cincinnati Bengals receiving props are live. When we come back on the other side, since he's going to have the ball in a 4-minute drill, we will update those receiving props, and we're going to click, because that's how we're going to do it live here on IGL.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on Sports Grid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was
that's what
looking
your
down
grandma
and did
does,
not
right?
know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
Together, both Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on Sports Grid.
Welcome back in, everybody. In-game live rolls on a Sunday night as we're bringing you the Chargers and the Bengals. And the Los Angeles Chargers are up 21-6 right now. This is, honestly, if you're new to live betting, this is one of the perfect opportunities here because, as I mentioned before, we have a game script which looks fairly obvious. We have the leading passer in the NFL, George, down by 2 scores in the first half. So let me give you some of these numbers here. Jamar Chase has 47 yards. They're hanging 97 to 100.5 yards. T. Higgins has 34 yards receiving. They're hanging around 70.5. Chase Brown, the running back, at 22.5. Mike Gesicki, the tight end, who you were on earlier pregame, is at 20.5. The Joe Burrow passing yards number, he's at 109. They're hanging 314.5. He's got 11 completions. He's going to have to throw the ball. They're hanging 28.5. And here's another number that we didn't talk about over the break. It is even money, George, for Joe Burrow to throw an interception in this game. If he continues to force it on some level, I think there is a cornucopia of options here, George. It's like a Cheesecake Factory menu with how many options we have right now. But isn't this the perfect kind of game script to bet literally a pass-happy team, Joe Burrow, the league's leading passer, all of his weapons? Isn't this kind of beauty for the live bettor right now?
It's been quite a while since I've been to the Cheesecake Factory.
Their menu is big, though. Come on, George, you know it.
It is big. You got a cornucopia of selection there, right? So yeah, it is big. Yes, I must have a word of a day dictionary that I read that. I agree with you. Once again, I think all the Cincinnati over props are all there for you. As far as the receivers are concerned. Like I said, I'm already on 2 Jamar Chase overs, 1 T. Higgins, 1 Gesicki. I'm on the over in the game, and I still might play some others here when I see a number I like. So we need Cincinnati to score, right? We need them to score some points here because we don't want a one-sided game because then San Diego really will take the air out of the ball. They're going to run every play now and try to kill clock. So I'm worried about that a little bit here because I don't think the Bengals are going to be able to stop the Chargers. Now the Chargers want to score. And the Chargers got to be careful as well here. Don't go into a shell, But I just wonder if Harbaugh's going to want to slow things down a little bit here. So that's the only thing I worry about here. But I like all of the Bengals props.
All right. He hits Jamar Chase for a little bit. It's like a 2-yard gain. We got 3rd down. Here's the other thing I wonder, because you're talking about now the Chargers maybe slowing it down a little bit. I also think we have the potential for the Chargers to play a little bend but don't break, prevent kind of defense, and I see the Bengals plus 11.5. That is a big kind of number. What do you think here, George? Oh, you look exacerbated on something you have seen. Please tell me it's not like Jamar Chase going to the blue tent or something like that, because that would crush us. But what do you think? I mean, I think that is a big backdoor there for Joe Burrow and these Cincinnati Bengals, because I think that they're going to pretty much, as Joe Burrow gets sacked on 3rd down, so the Chargers will get the ball back, it looks like. But I think that's a big backdoor for the Cincinnati Bengals in the second half to continue to pick. It's not happening right now. They got pressure on Burrow, but what do you say about plus double digits now for the Cincinnati Bengals? Your concern is, can Cincy slow or stop the Chargers on the other side?
My concern is twofold. Could Cincy slow them down, and can they do anything offensively? This is back-to-back series now. 3 and out, third down, you got sacked. All right, so it's frustrating here since we have all these Cincinnati Bengal overs on their receivers here. They can't even get a drive going here. I think, once again, if you want to play, you want to take the points with Cincinnati, well, you might want to wait. Chargers have the ball. They score again, you're going to get more points. Actually, you're probably going to get more points. Right. You just wait a little bit. You get a couple of first down or two, you might get 15 and a half. You might get 16 and a half. So I would wait a little bit here. It just doesn't look very good for the for the Bengals right now. Nothing is going well for them. We talked earlier, by the way, about them. Should they have kicked the field goal on 4th and 2? Well, back then it was okay. Right now, no, they should have gone for it. All right, because that field goal is doing you nothing right now. So, like I said, if you want to take the Bengals and the points, I don't. By the way, I'm not touching it. The Bengals look like crap to me. They're not playing well anywhere right now. So I'm not going to take it right now. I'm probably going to rein it in a little bit. Rein it in a little bit on the Bengals here. Let's see what they can do in the second half here. I'm not sure they'll get the ball again in the first half.
All right, we'll see. We are inside of 2.5 minutes, and like you say, the Chargers will run down the clock. I think we may get to the 2-minute warning here on this one. And listen, here's a good piece of information as well. It looks like Ladd McConkey is back on the field. He catches an 11-yard pass here, so it is 4th and 10. The Chargers continuing to move the ball. They're on their own 35-yard line as we get to the 2-minute warning. There was a questionable to return with a shoulder injury for Ladd McConkey. Well, he has returned, and he has caught a pass over the middle. So now as we get to the 2-minute warning, it is 21-6. The Los Angeles Chargers right now having their way offensively against the Cincinnati Bengals defense. Justin Herbert, 8 of 9 through the air, 148 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Herbert is the leading rusher for the Los Angeles Chargers as we get to the 2-minute warning. When we get to halftime over here, we're going to be throwing it to Casey Hudson. She's going to be breaking everything down that we have seen so far. We will kind of, like you said, rein it in, look at what we've got, and I'll tell you if I still like the Cincinnati Bengals plus 14.5 points at this 2-minute warning. I do believe that the Chargers defense is going to get a little bit of cushion, a little bit more preventative, as it were, and that will open up, the Los Angeles Chargers don't care about our live bets. They'll give Jamar Chase 8-9 yards here and there. They'll play soft coverage, and I do think that we will get still these overs on the Bengals receivers. So I am still okay with that. I think you're right. The concern for me is now the J.K. Dobbins under, because if they score again here and they open up more than a 15-point lead in the second half, this Harbaugh Roman identity we are going to start to see, and we're going to see a ton of carries as the Chargers look to kind of bleed the clock dry on Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. So this last drive, or what we think could be the last drive of the first half, if they get more points, it is going to be hard for them to see Justin Herbert putting the ball up. But the action will be on Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals side. I'm kind of hoping, quite frankly, that they do this so it's so extreme and Joe Burrow has to throw the ball the entire second half, George. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're not invested in the game, I almost even want a more extreme game script because we're already on these live bets.
My only problem with that is if it gets too out of whack, do they pull Burrow at one point? That's my only worry about that.
I mean, that's
happened
fair.
Today with Kirk Cousins. You got no garbage points from Kirk Cousins late.
It did happen with Kirk Cousins late, but that's why I think the 14-20 is a lot different than the 30-plus point lead, George, okay? Because if it's within 2, and at 21-6, if Cincy scores, they go for 2, they're right back on schedule kind of thing, right? And I think that could be the way it goes as well. So we'll see what happens here. But if, for example, if they wind up not scoring here and it's 21-6 going into halftime, or they get a field goal and it's 24-6, we got to check. Do you remember who got the ball to start the game? Do you remember who got the ball to start the game?
Chargers, right? They went 3 and out. They ran the ball 3 times.
I think so. We'll have to double check. That because I was talking about how it was Gus Edwards who started on the field for them in the first play. So we'll see about that, but we'll see who has the chance to kind of double up if it is, in fact, the Chargers that get the ball. But listen, right now, the Chargers are pushing out of the 2-minute warning with the idea of trying to get these points. Cincinnati, we're hearing, got the ball first. You're right. They did. And then They're still throwing the ball. And there's Josh Palmer with his first catch of the game. Remember, his number was only like 18.5, and they are right in range with $150 still left to go. If the Chargers score again here and the Chargers get the ball to start the second half, we are in a position where this could be blowout central. I don't think we're not going to see Joe Burrow finish this game. I don't think that's the case. We may not see T. Higgins finish the game, who had a little bit of a back that they were looking at and is just coming back in this one. But we'll see, because at this point, the Chargers have not scored to end the first half. And if it is a 2-touchdown game, I think we are still perfectly live with all of the things we are looking for on the Cincinnati Bengals side. One thing I also know is when we go to halftime, we're going to be giving it to Casey Hudson, and she will be telling you everything you need as we reset the deck right here. We'll see if the Chargers can get in and do the double up right here on In Game Live. Dane and George with more when we come back after the break.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on Sports Grid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
Together, both Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on Sports Grid.
Welcome back in Game Live, Sunday Night Football style. Dane Martinez and George Kurtz. We have another roughing the passer here on the defense. I think that was Hendrickson that got into Justin Herbert. And so now the Chargers are in field goal range already on the, it's even deeper. They are right there knocking on the door on the 5-yard line of the Cincinnati Bengals. They're looking like they're going to clock it here, and they do. So now what do we have? We've got only about 14 seconds left to go here, and the Chargers will have the opportunity, it looks like, George, with 13 seconds at second and goal, they'll be able to throw into the end zone twice, in my opinion, right? And then if they don't get there, they'll be able to kick a field goal if they need to finish out this half. And regardless, it looks like the Chargers are going to get more points here going into the locker room, and they get the second half kickoff. This does not look good for Cincinnati, George.
No, like I said, they played like crap, really. Ever since they kicked that field goal of their own, I wasn't thrilled about the roughing the passer call. It's better than the other one. All right, Henderson had him by the collar, did drag him down after he threw the ball. It's iffy. Once again, I'm not thrilled about it, but definitely more legit than the other one. I don't know why they clocked the ball. You were up there, you had it was 14 seconds, just run whatever play. There's got to be some play you guys know. I'm going to run a quick play, run a quick out, whatever it is. Try to see if we get in the end zone here, because now you've caught yourself a play here. So is what it is there, and they'll have oh my God, another flag. A lot of laundry here. Although this one doesn't really matter. This is one of the ones where if you're defense, you do everything you can to make sure they don't score, right? Because the flag doesn't matter. You got one play left.
Right.
The flag don't mean anything. Either you're going for it. I guess theoretically you could run a really fast out again for less than 4 seconds.
That's what I would think. You could run the quick out and then be able to have another shot at it. But you're right here. Now, what they will probably do here. What?
You really got to, that ball has to be thrown, right? You got to trust your quarterback. Get it, throw it. You throw it out of bounds. You can't wait anything.
Right. You got to get it and throw it right to the pylon. That's what you got to do if you can here. But what do we got here? First and goal from the 1 yard line. What do? You run out the field goal, or you take one more chance at it, George?
I would probably do a quick out. With Justin Herbert, I think I would have done the quick out. But the defense knows that too. They're kicking the field goal, by the way. But I would have run a very quick, as you said, right at the pylon, because you got no time for anything else. You tell Justin, get the ball, throw the ball. Doesn't matter. If it's not there, throw it over everybody's head. If it is there, give it a shot. It's a perfect time to do it, too, because what's the worst thing that can happen? Even if they pick it off, as long as they don't return it for a touchdown,
right, it's all the way back.
You're blowing them out
we
anyway.
do, in fact, have a field goal, and it is the last play of the first half here. So we go to halftime. The Los Angeles Chargers are all over the Cincinnati Bengals, 24-6, and the Chargers will be getting the second half kickoff. It is a mountain of work for Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals, and we've got Casey Hudson to tell you all about it, and we're going to give it to her right now, and she can talk about the first half here of Sunday Night Football. But, George, I mean, this is a big-time mountain for the Cincinnati Bengals. They don't even get the ball, and even if they do, it is a 3-score game. I believe we're going to get Joe Burrow at least under center for the entire time, but it is going to be a problem. When we come back, we'll be looking at these live numbers, and we will see if Cincinnati can do anything. But right now, it looks like the Los Angeles Chargers are going to have this one well in hand, and Cincinnati is going to have to worry about that AFC final wildcard.
Welcome into Pro Football Today. It is time for the halftime show. And while it's a great halftime for one of these respective teams, another one's going to be having a number of big conversations and hopefully diffusing some of the tension that was building on the sideline. So as the Bengals and the Chargers head to their respective locker rooms, you've got the Chargers on top 24-6. That's right, 6 points for the Bengals, a Bengals team that we have seen have ups and downs and all of the wind arounds. But here's the bottom line. Their defense is so problematic. We saw some enthusiasm. We saw some encouragement when they went toe-to-toe with the Ravens, but considerably, they still let up 30-plus points. And ever since then, the question marks around whether this defense can hold their opponent to 30 less points still comes unanswered. So what we're talking about in terms of the discord and probably some of the diffusion of tension that needs to take place in the locker room is coming over on the Bengals defensive side. On the last couple of series there, when the Bengals were on defense, you saw Taylor Britt on the sideline, not able to go in. Now, if you guys have been watching from the top of this Sunday Night Football matchup, you would know or hear how they were talking about Taylor Britt being kind of one of those guys that a lot of touchdowns are getting passed when he goes into coverage. So you're kind of seeing that pan out differently now, seeing as how he's being held to the sideline. But earlier, at the end of the first quarter there, you saw the Bengals defense and some of their leaders getting real chatty and really upset about some of the issues going on where defense is letting up a number of massive plays. But aside from the issues that the Bengals defense are trying to weather through, let's highlight what's going well. Well, what's going well is Justin Herbert having himself a night. It's not even just the fact that he has a number of beautiful spirals connecting to a number of targets on the field. It's the fact that Justin Herbert not only looks confident, but looks very much like rare form Justin Herbert. he looks like he is feeling himself, and that is connecting with every pass that he is tossing out there so far tonight. And it's not just about the passing. No, it's the 58 rushing yards through 4 carries that he has on the ground, a number of big yards that Justin Herbert is picking up. This is a scary sight for a Chargers team that does extraordinarily well with their clock management, has this guy at the helm as the head coach, Harbaugh, who's really brilliant at some of this stuff. And not to mention is that Herbert's been dealing with a number of issues and a number of injuries from training camp heading into the season. So this is a great all-around performance for the Chargers, picking up those 24 points to 6 over the Bengals heading into halftime there. So again, Herbert with 58 on the ground, but almost 200 passing yards through the air. And the story that you guys know I'm going to highlight is going to be the tight end that got things going for the Chargers, Will Dissly. So we're going to talk about a number of the targets that Justin Herbert is making these beautiful connections with. I'm talking bullet connections with. We're also going to talk about some adjustments that the Bengals potentially make on the other side, see where the lines, odds, and movements have gone and come about as they have head into the respective locker rooms. So don't go anywhere. Make sure you stick with us here at Pro Football Today on the Halftime Show on SportsGrid TV.
What else do you need in your life? Are you not entertained coming along with us here on the Sports Grid Network?
They have regressed horrifically in the 3 years that he's been in charge. They are a disaster. They are a sinking ship.
Casey, why you bugging?
Who I must ask, did you see Caitlin Clark, by the way, Dubsy, nearly take a couple of people's heads off with her tee shot today? I mean, how great was that?
I've never seen anything closer to Sharapin on the golf course until I saw that video of Caitlin Clark.
They are anemic. They can't stop a runny nose. Their defense is as bad as the Jets.
I don't know how anybody looks at the Jets and wants to lay anything with them except lay down and just, and die at this point here, Ben.
The Jets will always jet.
I hate them. Give me Duke minus a 6.5 tonight.
Now we live in a society. Oh, it's not fair. We need 12 teams. It's not fair. We're going to have 16 teams, 24 teams. What the hell are we doing here?
I think UConn actually wins the national championship if they can stay healthy. Little side note for everybody.
In women,
South Carolina,
all right,
big favorite.
Oh, no. In both.
Kentucky gonna fall off that map, man. Don't worry about it. Flat Earth, they fall right off, Kyrie Irving style.
Yeah.
It's the Dallas Cowboys, and they're ran like a Pee-wee football team. I can't believe this.
Like people enjoy saying Knickerbockers. Well,
like saying Knickerbockers, except you.
Losing to who? The Detroit Pistons? What? How do you do this one, Spock? Come on.
He's going to give deference to Georgia because of the G on the side of the helmet. I certainly understand that.
Those of you that watch us every night, we really do appreciate you.
Only on Sports Grid.
Welcome back into Pro Football Today, the halftime show here on SportsGrid TV, breaking down what we saw in that first half between the Bengals and the Chargers. And honestly, if you want the short script version of this, it's Justin Herbert feeling himself, having himself a freaking night, putting up the numbers to prove it, while the Bengals have to kind of resort and figure out what their strategy is going to be on the other side of halftime. Now, if you guys missed it, I mentioned it beforehand, there's some tension building between the Bengals defense and how they're going to slow down this Chargers offense. But more importantly, they got to get on the same page. They had a little bit of a scary situation with T. Higgins at the end of the first quarter, top of the second quarter. Luckily, he came back in, but you saw them trying to put some ointment on his back. We know that back injury is what's kept him out of a number of games. And then not so much action for Jamar Chase, also giving a lot of opportunities to Tanner Hudson. So you see he's trying to eat up opportunities in the middle of the field with his tight end. And you guys know I love a tight end moment, but for the most part, it's not going all too well. They have to continuously either push for fourth down opportunities or punt the ball. So the Bengals have to see if they can hold on to the ball here. They have about 3 minutes less of offensive play time in comparison to the Chargers. So a number of course corrections going to have to come about if they're going to add some points and compete with the 24-6 deficiency that they're going to be going into the second half with. Also, Chargers will be starting with the ball. Now, some of the odds and lines that we're going to keep an eye on are probably some things you want to jump on right now on the Pro Football Today halftime show. The team total for the Chargers in the second half is wildly 9.5. 24 points heading into halftime. I'm sure this is something everybody's going to want to gauge and probably hop on. Something else that I found interesting is that when it comes to the passing props, you have Justin Herbert sitting almost 10 yards less than Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, who is struggling to make connections. Joe Burrow, who heading into halftime was sitting at 111 passing yards. And you've got Herbert, who's already gracing 200 just about. 183 is what I last saw before the second quarter closed out. So you pick your poison here. Do you see Justin Herbert getting to 264 passing yards if he continues to go on this heater that he's been on in the first half? Or do you see Joe Burrow potentially hitting that 274 that he's still listed at on FanDuel heading into halftime? So those are a couple of the props that I was gauging more so. I think that with some of the disarray taking place for the Bengals defense, what will be interesting to see, does Britt go back in, Taylor Britt to be more specific, in this second half, or are they going to continue to show that they don't trust him and keep him sidelined? If that's the case, though, you're down a guy, plays are still being given up, tackles are still being missed, and Justin Herbert and company can continue to stretch the ball downfield. Speaking of stretching the ball downfield, if there's any props or anything you want to jump on, I think Joe Madden had this, I saw it on Twitter, but Johnston for the Chargers is going to be a tremendous target. Once you start getting that vibe in the first half, that's something that we consistently can see carrying out between Herbert and Johnston in the second half. You saw a number of big plays continue to air out, but it's going to be at that 11:02 mark in the second quarter where Justin Herbert just had a bullet, 26 yards for the touchdown, finding Johnston in the end zone. So I think we're going to see more of that action coming about, and I think that this defense is going to live up to the hype. If you didn't know beforehand, know now that this Chargers defense was only allowing about 13.1 points per matchup. So they do very well with slowing down their opponent, but because of some of the injuries and because of a number of players that couldn't be involved, especially their run game kind of being questionable in a number of matchups, you've seen an offense that hasn't had an opportunity to completely flourish, yet they still pulled off 6 wins in the season heading into this matchup tonight. So this can shake up some things over in the AFC if they are finding their stride right now, as well as more importantly, finding more health to be on their side when it comes to the roster matchup. But those are a couple of things that I would probably gauge and hop on before we get back to action for Sunday Night Football. I like Justin Herbert to hit over the 264. I mean, he's just flying out there right now. I like Johnston to probably find the end zone yet again. And then Will Dissly. I mean, we got to shine another light on a tight end story that you guys know I'm excited about. You're talking about a hand of the dirt tight end that is helping his team stretch the field and got some scoring going for this Chargers team. So I wouldn't be surprised to see more action out of Dissly. He's sitting at over 70 receiving yards already, leading that wide receiving room. So if it comes more of a target share, you're going to be looking at Dissly getting involved more, but you're still going to see a lot of action out of Johnston. So just a couple of guys to continue to gauge, see if their props align with what you want to lean on in this second half here, and have some fun with it, because the Chargers are going to continue to come out and have some fun. They got all the momentum right now, but more importantly, they come out with the ball. So make sure you keep all of your action and props with us here over on SportsGrid TV. Pro Football Today post-game show coming at you later tonight with me and Tom Vecchio to run through all of the wild games tonight, because I mentioned something important here. AFC, crucial moments going down in the AFC. So Tom Vecchio and I are going to break that down. More importantly, start looking ahead at some futures, because we are past that halfway point in the NFL season, which means every game counts, every loss counts, and more importantly, every win counts. So keep all of your NFL coverage with us here on SportsGrid and hang out with us for In Game Live.